This week we're building a custom 2-inch bopper with a built-in bottle opener. We're going to build this bottle opener in aluminum bronze. We start by doing the CAD. I saw a stamped steel bottle opener and loosely based my design on that. I measured a bottle cap and figured out how deep it needed to be. I wanted it to be recessed into the handle. And this is actually the third iteration that I printed because the first two didn't have enough draft in the pattern to come out of the sand cleanly.
Put it something like that. Set it almost to the bottom.
I add a lot of talc powder as it's a pretty tough pattern to remove. I started off using green sand, and I attempt to scuff up the surface when adding a secondary layer so that you have good sand adhesion. It usually works if you have enough moisture in your sand. Green sand is a bit tricky because you're always fighting to get to the perfect moisture level. I ended up giving up on this and switched to Petrobond. I remade the bottom of the mold the same way as the previous version in green sand. If you haven't seen any of the other videos I've made, I use this cast iron flask pretty frequently. I got it off Amazon. I think they're about 25 bucks. I start by making a sprue, smoothing down the sand with a punch and making sure we have a big enough entrance into the pattern. Now the real trick is to get the pattern out of the mold, and there's not a whole lot of good places to hook onto this. I've got this spot where the screw thread's in, trying to grab the underside of it to pull it out. And a bit more tapping. This is always a challenge because you want it to be as clean as possible, but at the same point, come out easily. Just cleaning up the edges that pulled loose and smooth down any loose sand. We cut the other half of the sprue into the other side. preheating the larger chunks of aluminum bronze from our previous melt to make sure there's no moisture left in them. These are leftovers from the bronze mic clamp build. You can easily get set up for backyard casting for under $500. I'm using a Vevor double burner furnace. I added this chimney to keep the lid from warping. I also preheat my tongs and pouring cradle. We don't want any moisture present when we pick the crucible up out of the furnace. Aluminum bronze always has a little bit of dross on the surface. Gotta clear that off. If you find this stuff interesting, you can always subscribe. I've got a half dozen projects going at any given moment. I'm trying to get out a new video every week or two. And the moment of truth. Did we get a good cast? Looks like we got complete fill. Oh, look at that. And wow, that looks pretty good. We even have the letters. I clean up any minor flashing with some files. I try to get a nice square edge on this. Aluminum bronze is surprisingly hard. You could try and hacksaw this, but I really prefer the portaband. We've been working on a 2x72 belt grinder project that's going to make this task a lot simpler in the future. Still haven't replaced the Scotch-Brite wheel. A little Dremel grind action to clean up the inside. Switch to some rouge and a felt pad to polish up the surfaces. Part 2, we'll finish by casting the head and lading a handle, and then we'll assemble the whole thing and embellish it with some wood burning.